there's a post-Soviet conflict still going on in Europe, and you might not have even heard about it because it fails to make mainstream media headlines on a regular basis. The conflict is centered around an autonomous region which is claimed by both Azerbaijan and Armenia. So I wanted to look at how this conflict began and why it still hasn't been resolved to this day. Hey guys, I'm Judah, this is NowThis World, and today I'm going to break down the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh, which is one of Europe's post-Soviet frozen wars. First, let's go back in history to see where this conflict began. Armenians and Turkic Azeris lived in this region in relative peace throughout the 19th century, but that eventually changed. In the 1920s, the region was under Russian rule. And pay attention because this is where things get a little complicated. After the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, the Soviet Union tightened its grip on this area. Under the leadership of USSR's Joseph Stalin, borders were drawn and the Armenian and Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republics were formed in 1921. But Armenia wasn't happy with where the borders were drawn. They believed the mountainous region of Nagorno-Karabakh should have belonged to them, not Azerbaijan, whom the Soviets gave the land to. But that wasn't the end of it. The Soviets implemented a policy known as divide and rule in the area. The policy was basically a way for the Soviets to create dissent between groups of people, ensuring they fought each other instead of the USSR. So in July 1923, the Soviets created the Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Region inside of Azerbaijan's borders. But here's the thing. The Soviets drew the border so strategically that the inhabitants were over 94% ethnically Armenian. Over the next few decades, tensions between the republics remained high, but outright conflict was kept in check under Soviet rule. But as time went on, the USSR would slowly begin to lose control of this area as it began to collapse. As the Soviets lost power, violence grew between Azerbaijan and Armenia. And this brings us to the autonomous region's fight for independence. In 1988, the Nagorno-Karabakh legislature passed a resolution to join Armenia, despite being within Azerbaijan's borders. The move caught Azerbaijan by surprise and caused tensions to escalate. But after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the enclave officially declared de facto independence from Azerbaijan. It's important to note here that no international government recognizes the region as an independent state, including Armenia, even though it remains its largest military and economic ally. The enclave's declaration of independence led to a full-scale war in 1992. The conflict was brutal. Some of the worst atrocities to happen included Azerbaijan's shelling and ground invasion of the region, and a brutal massacre committed by Armenian forces that left almost 500 people dead, mainly civilians. This war continued on for 2 years. It claimed the lives of about 30,000 people and displaced nearly 1 million people until Russia brokered a ceasefire in 1994. The agreement left Nagorno-Karabakh and several Azeri areas around the enclave in the hands of the Armenians. Some of those areas directly connect Armenia to the enclave. By the end of the war, nearly 700,000 ethnic Azeris were kicked out of these areas. Today, while the ceasefire technically still stands, both Azerbaijan and Armenia remain in an intense stalemate. Resentment among all parties are still high. Azerbaijan is still angry about losing land they claim is theirs, and Armenia shows absolutely no sign of being willing to give it up anytime soon. Even international efforts by the United States, Russia, and France have failed to bring a permanent end to the dispute. Both parties have been unwilling to budge to create lasting peace, and both parties have also been responsible for escalating violence in the region. In 2016, the 1994 ceasefire was violated in a military flare-up that killed dozens of soldiers on both sides. And more recently, in 2017, Azerbaijan escalated tensions once more when it claimed to destroy Armenia's air defense system in Nagorno-Karabakh. So as of now, it doesn't really seem like either side is really serious about creating lasting peace in the region. So now that we've gone through a little bit of the history of the conflict of Nagorno-Karabakh, what are some other conflicts and stories you'd like us to dive into next? Let me know in the pinned comment below. Thanks for watching NowThis World, and please make sure to like and subscribe for more every week.